price would you pay for beauty, and what if it wasn't yours to give? In the quiet heart of Mbeko village, where time seemed to move slower than the wind and secrets aged better than wine, there stood a weathered old salon with a rusty sign that read, Mama Coco's touch. The paint peeled like old memories, and the shutters creaked whenever the wind whispered through, but no one ever questioned why the woman who ran it, Mama Coco, looked as though she hadn't aged a day in over 70 years. Her skin was tight, flawless. Her eyes sharp like they had seen centuries pass. Her hair long and jet black, shimmered like a raven's wing in the sunlight. And yet the records, what few the village kept, claimed. Mama Coco was over 106. No one dared say it out loud. Not the women who lined up outside her salon every week, not the elders who crossed themselves when her shadow fell upon them. Not even the priest who once tried to bless her doorstep and disappeared the next day without a trace, Mama. Coco was a myth walking in flesh. A woman who was both feared and desired. People gossiped behind closed doors, whispering of dark magic of youth stolen under the pretense of beauty treatments. But not a single soul had the courage to confront her. Not after what happened to Nenah. Ah yes, Nenah. She was the light of the village. Once Mama Coco's only daughter. A beauty in her own right, full of laughter and dreams. People often said if joy had a face, it would be Nenah's. She opened her arms to everyone. Her heart was bigger than the hills. Her kindness unmatched, but kindness, as Mbeko would come to learn, could never save anyone from Mama Coco. It started subtly. Nenah began to look tired, a little pale. Her once bright smile dulled her laughter, replaced with sighs. It's just the heat, she told them. Mama's been helping me open a new section of the salon. I'm just tired. But the villagers weren't blind. They saw the weight she carried. They saw the shadows deepen under her eyes, the way her hands began to tremble as if life was slipping through her fingers. And yet Mama Coco grew younger. Her face glowed. Her limbs moved with the grace of someone in their 20s. She was seen dancing barefoot in the rain, laughing, spinning like a girl again. The whispers turned to murmurs, and the murmurs to silence. Because the day Nenah collapsed in the middle of the market, her eyes vacant and her body frail as paper, everyone knew something was wrong, but no one spoke a word. Mama Coco announced that Nenah had died from a sudden illness. Poor thing, she said, crocodile tears staining her cheeks. She was too soft for this world, but the villagers knew. They saw the mark on Nenah's scalp, a strange circle of hair, shaven and burnt. They saw the bite-like bruises on her neck, and still no one challenged Mama Coco, because who could? She was too powerful, too mysterious, and too dangerous. Life went on. Seasons changed. Women still visited the salon, drawn like moths to a flame, yearning for the touch that would make them beautiful, never questioning what it might cost. And then came Chisum, Nenah's daughter, the spitting image of her mother, but with fiercer eyes. From the moment she turned 16, Mama Coco took a special interest in her. Such fine hair, she would say, stroking Chisum's braids. It holds strength. You'll make your mama proud. Chisum had been raised by the villagers after Nenah's death. Mama Coco had only recently taken her in, claiming she belongs with blood. And Chisum, young and naive, believed her. At first, everything felt normal. Mama Coco treated her well-fed, her rich soups, gifted her silk head wraps, called her my flower. But soon, strange things began to happen. Chisum would wake up with headaches, feeling dizzy. Her dreams were filled with shadows. Women with hollow eyes, reaching out to her, whispering things she couldn't remember upon waking. Her hair began to fall out in clumps. Her skin lost its glow. And Mama Coco, she bloomed. Her skin looked like polished gold. Her laugh echoed through the house like music, She danced again, always after treatment days. The same days Chisum found herself more drained than usual. Then came the night that broke the illusion. It was a moonless evening, the sky covered in thick clouds. Chisum couldn't sleep. She felt a weight on her chest, like something was pressing down on her soul. She heard whispers, soft chanting, curiosity, or perhaps fate led her to the locked room at the back of the salon. She had seen Mama Coco enter it dozens of times, always after dark, always alone. Tonight the door was ajar, and Chisum looked. Inside the walls were covered in old hair. Women's hair, braided, curled, tied with red threads. Candles lit the room in a strange flickering glow. In the center stood Mama Coco, bareheaded, humming as she stirred a black pot filled with steaming herbs and locks of Chisum's hair. On the floor were photos of Nenah of Chisum, of other girls from the village who had vanished without explanation. Their faces had been crossed out with charcoal except for Chisum's. Chisum gasped, "Mama." Coco turned slowly, her eyes glowing unnaturally. "You shouldn't be here," she whispered. "What are you doing with my hair? What is this?" Chisum's voice trembled. Mama Coco smiled, an ancient broken smile. "I am preserving us. You, me, Nenah, all of us. Beauty is life, and life must be shared." "You killed her," Chisum whispered, stepping back. "You drained her. She gave it willingly," Mama Coco hissed. "For you. For legacy. You're a monster." And Chisum ran. She bolted from the house barefoot, the wind slapping her face, tears streaming from her eyes. She didn't stop until she reached the center of the village, where the old banyan tree stood like a sentinel. "She stole my youth," she screamed. "She's stealing from us all." The villagers gathered one by one, lanterns in hand. They saw her torn clothes, her terrified eyes, her trembling body, but no one spoke, no one moved. The silence was thicker than fear. Mama Coco appeared moments later, walking slowly, gracefully, as if she hadn't been performing ancient magic just moments ago. "Chisum has been unwell," she said softly. "The poor girl suffers terrible dreams. Let me take her home." But Chisum backed away, hiding behind the banyan tree, eyes wild with terror. "She's lying. She killed my mother. She's eating us," a few villagers murmured. One woman crossed herself. A man lowered his eyes, but still no one stepped forward. Mama Coco reached out a hand. "Come, child, you need rest." And just like that, the wind died. The air grew still. Chisum took one last look at the silent faces around her, the ones who had whispered about Mama Coco for decades, the ones who feared but never acted, and she ran again, into the forest, into the night. She was never seen in Mbeko again, but the salon still stands, and Mama Coco, she's still young, still waiting, still smiling. Then came Adah. If Chisum was the wildfire that tried to burn down a secret, Adah was the soft candle flame that lit up even the darkest corner of Mbeko. 17, radiant and as kind as the morning sun, Adah walked with the grace of a dove and spoke with the gentleness of water over stone. Her voice, like a hymn, often drifted through the village church as she sang in the choir. Her faith was strong, her smile was honest. And though she lived a quiet life, every man in Mbeko knew there was something about her that made the heart pause. But Adah belonged to no one except God and her mother. Her mother, Mama Ijoma, was a hard woman forged by suffering. Her eyes were the color of storms, and her hands carried the stories of survival. She had raised Adah alone after her husband was taken too soon by fever, and swore never to let harm touch her daughter, especially not through her hair. "Your hair is your crown, Adah," she'd say, combing it with coconut oil and prayers. "Don't let just anyone lay their hands on it, especially not strangers, and never ever Mama Coco. Adah always laughed, "Mama, I'm not a child anymore. And Coco's just an old woman with a salon. Everyone goes to her. But Mama," Ijoma never smiled at that. "She's not just an old woman," she whispered. "She's hunger with skin. If she ever touches your hair, she'll take more than strands." Adah brushed off the warnings like dust from her shoes. Yet deep inside, a flicker of fear remained. She never passed Mama Coco's salon without feeling a chill on her neck. The woman would be there, always sitting by the door, braiding strands of thread, with fingers that moved too quickly for someone her age. Her eyes followed Adah, not like a predator, but like someone reading a book they'd already memorized. "She's watching me again," Adah whispered one evening to her best friend Amara. "Maybe she thinks you're beautiful." Amara giggled. "Everyone does." "But Mama." Coco's gaze wasn't admiration, it was calculation, because Mama Coco knew something others didn't. Adah's bloodline was strong, unbroken. Her hair shimmered with untouched power. It held purity, resilience, and something even more potent than faith, and Mama Coco needed that now more than ever. Since Chisum escaped, the rituals had weakened. Her potions didn't hold as long. Her bones ached. Her skin, once radiant, began to wrinkle ever so slightly. The clock was ticking again, and the only way to stop it was to feed, and Adah would be the feast. But to get to Adah, Mama Coco needed patience, the kind that spiders understood. She began simply, a smile on the roadside, a warm greeting in the market, a small bag of roasted groundnuts left on Adah's doorstep with a note. "For the beautiful one who brightens our village." Adah was polite, grateful, but cautious when Mama Coco sent her a bottle of perfumed oil. "To keep your hair soft and strong," the note read. Adah left it untouched on her shelf. Still, the seed was planted. Then came Amara. Ah, sweet Amara, a bright girl, sharp and loud, but always in Adah's shadow. They were sisters in friendship, bonded by childhood games and whispered secrets, but where Adah's light came naturally, Amara always wanted more. More eyes on her, more praise, more charm. Mama Coco saw that hunger one morning. She called Amara into the salon, fed her pawpaw slices dipped in honey, and whispered in her ear, "You want people to see you like they see Adah, don't you?" Amara hesitated. "She's special, and you're not." "Mama," Coco's voice was sweet and slow. "Child, your beauty just needs to bloom. Let me help." It only took one visit. Amara emerged from the salon glowing, her cheeks bright, her braids neat and shimmering like river stones. People noticed. Boys smiled, women complimented, and Amara changed. "Adah," she said the next day, "you're wasting your time avoiding Coco. That woman's hands are magic." Adah frowned. "You know, my mother warned me. Your mother is afraid of shadows. Coco's just misunderstood and generous." Adah's stomach twisted. But Coco didn't stop there. She sent a scarf to Adah next, red embroidered with golden thread. "For your choir performance," the note read. "A gift from someone who believes in your voice." Adah tried to resist. She told herself it meant nothing. She tried to pray it away, but when her mother left for the capital to tend to her sick uncle, and Amara suggested they go just to see, Adah felt her resolve crack. "She doesn't even have to touch your hair," Amara coaxed. "Just a wash, a braid. One visit won't kill you." Adah hesitated at the door of the salon. It smelled sweet, too sweet, like roses and rot. Inside the walls were painted a soft lilac. Candles flickered. The mirrors were polished until they seemed like pools of silver. Mama Coco stood behind her chair draped in flowing white, smiling as though Adah were family. "Welcome, beautiful child," she said. "What an honor." Adah's throat tightened. "Just a wash. My mother would be angry." "Of course," Coco purred. "Only what you're comfortable with. Relax, Adah. You are safe here." But the door clicked shut behind her, and Adah didn't see the tiny bowl of herbs behind the chair, didn't see the loose strands of hair from others coiled and waiting, didn't see the shadow in Coco's reflection that didn't match her movement. She sat. The chair creaked slightly. Mama Coco reached for a comb, and as her fingers brushed Adah's scalp, the harvest began. The sun had begun to set when Adah stepped out of Mama Coco's salon. The golden light bathed her face, warm and gentle, like a blessing from the heavens. She felt calm. Her scalp tingled slightly, but nothing more. The wind kissed her cheeks. The birds sang in distant trees, and the world for a fleeting moment seemed normal. Mama Coco had smiled at her as she left. "Come again, child," she had whispered, her voice as smooth as silk. "And bring that voice of yours next time. I'd love to hear you sing." Adah had nodded politely, unsure why her chest felt tight, why her fingers trembled ever so slightly. She told herself it was nerves guilt, perhaps for going against her mother's warning, but it would pass. Everything felt fine until it didn't. It began slowly. A subtle pressure behind her eyes, then a chill crawling up her spine, as though someone had poured river water down her back. By the time she reached the footpath near her home, her knees buckled, her breath came short. She clutched a tree for balance. The ground spun beneath her feet. Adah blinked, and for a moment, just a moment, she caught her reflection in the glass of a water jug perched on a neighbour's windowsill. She gasped. Her skin looked dull. Her lips had paled. There were shadows beneath her eyes that hadn't been there an hour ago. Her cheeks looked sunken, her neck thinner. Panic bloomed in her chest. She stumbled home. Her hands trembled as she opened the door to the small hut she shared with her mother. But Mama Ijoma was still away in the capital. No warm hug, no scolding, no sacred oils or whispered prayers, just silence. Adah collapsed onto her mother's bed, clutching the scarf Coco had given her. Tears spilled down her face, her hands. They were wrinkling, the skin puckered like that of an old woman. Her beautiful hair, her pride, now felt coarse, brittle like it had been bleached by years of sun and sorrow. She screamed, a sound of anguish that echoed through the night, but no one came. No one ever came. Meanwhile, back in the salon, the candles flickered with unnatural force. Mama Coco sat before her altar. A bowl carved from ebony lay before her, filled with strands of Adah's glistening hair. Around it, bones of birds, dried herbs, drops of crimson oil. She hummed an ancient melody passed down, not in love, but in curses. Her fingers moved in intricate patterns, dancing like spiders. The air thickened, a glow enveloped her. Then came the transformation. Her grey hairs darkened to black. The loose skin on her neck pulled taut. Her cloudy eyes cleared. Her spine straightened. She exhaled long and slow, like someone waking from a deep slumber. She rose, tall, radiant, beautiful, and young once more. She walked to her mirror and stared. There it was. The power, the price, the theft. She whispered Adah's name softly like a hymn. She was sweet, Coco said to herself. Sweet and strong. Just enough to hold me another decade. And she smiled. Back in her home, Adah clawed at her scalp, sobbing. She had tried to wash her hair again and again, but it was too late. The drain filled with strands. Her once rich curls now looked lifeless grey. Her skin sagged. Her voice, once honey, now cracked with every word. She needed help. Someone, anyone. There was only one person she could run to, Amara. She staggered through the darkened village paths, wrapped in a shawl to hide her form. Her limbs ached. Her joints burned. She felt like she had aged 50 years in 50 minutes. Each step was agony. She reached Amara's door and banged, gasping for breath. The door creaked open. Amara stood there, a candle in hand, and Adah dropped the shawl. "Adah," Amara gasped. What happened to you?" Adah's eyes filled with tears. She took it. She took everything. But as the candlelight hit Amara's face, Adah saw it. The same sunken cheeks, the same brittle hair, the same hollow eyes. Amara dropped the candle. It rolled across the floor and went out. In the darkness, they clung to each other, two girls robbed of their youth, two friends, victims of the same trap. And there, in the silence of that small room, they collapsed, crying, wailing, regretting, but nothing could undo it. No prayer, no potion, no plea. Mama Coco had taken, and she never gave back. By morning, Adah was gone. Her body lay curled like a child's, eyes open, hair thin as straw. No one dared to touch her. They whispered. They always whispered. She was too beautiful. She defied her mother. She went to the salon. The stories spread like wildfire, but only in hushes. No one confronted Mama Coco. No one asked questions. No one challenged her, not even when Amara was found the next day, mumbling nonsense and aged beyond recognition. Not even when a small girl named Lami swore she saw Adah's ghost walking near the river, her mouth open in a silent scream. The villagers told themselves stories to sleep at night. That's just grief. She must have been sick. She always looked tired anyway. And life moved on. Children were born, men farmed, women sang, the church bells rang, and Mama Coco, she thrived. Each day her skin glowed brighter, her eyes sparkled more. Her hands worked with vigor. She baked plantains for the priest, gifted sweets to children, smiled at mothers in the market. Her salon never lacked visitors, especially new ones, visitors who hadn't heard the whispers or chose not to believe them. And even those who had, well, fear is a powerful silence. No one wanted to be next, and so they said nothing, did nothing. Even as one girl vanished, then another. Even as the wind carried voices that didn't belong to the living. Even as Adah's name became a memory only spoken behind closed doors. But Mama Coco, she lived and watched. From the edge of the village, in that lilac-coloured salon with silver mirrors, she still watched, beautiful as ever, unbothered and always waiting. Thank you so much for staying with us until the very end of this chilling tale. We hope the secret of Mama Coco kept you on the edge of your seat. If her story made your heart race or left you with questions, don't keep them to yourself. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear what you think really lies behind Mama Coco's smile. If you enjoyed this story and want more gripping tales like this, don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and join our growing community of story lovers. Until next time, stay curious and beware of whispers in the dark.